Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. I do have one quick favor before we get to the video that you came here for, and that is very simply this. You see that little red subscribe button below this video? Go ahead, smash that subscribe button. It really does help me. It really does help this channel grow and my audience grow. So go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. And now, here is the video that you came here for. All right, let's get into the topic of the day. And on Wednesday, there was really only one topic. It was National Signing Day in college football. And even within the context of there only being one topic, National Signing Day, there was really only one topic within the topic, and that was, surprise, surprise, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Not sure if you heard, Alabama's pretty good, coming off a national championship season. So how did they celebrate a national championship in Tuscaloosa? By signing not only the number one recruiting class this year, but on Wednesday, it officially became the greatest recruiting class in the history of the recruiting rankings era. In other words, 24/7 Sports, ESPN, all these places that have been doing these recruiting rankings for years are telling us no school, player for player, has ever signed a class as good as Alabama signed on Wednesday. So yeah, good luck everybody else in college football. For everyone who was hoping that the nuclear winter that is Alabama football, just squashing everybody in its path, was going to come to an end anytime soon, I don't think that's going to happen. First of all, the numbers on this class are absolutely staggering, okay? So of the top 100 players, according to 24/7 Sports, Alabama signed 16 of them. That means of the top 100 players, more than 1 in every 10 is going to Tuscaloosa if they are not there already. They also signed 9 of the top 50 players, which, not sure if you're good at math, but that's right around 20% of the top 50 players, the elite of the elite, are going to Bama. For some context, how about this? Of the top 50 players, Alabama signed 9. The entire Big 12 signed 5. Alabama almost doubled up the number of elite players in this recruiting class of an entire conference. Additionally, beyond that, they also signed 3 top 5 players in the state of Texas, or 3 top 10 players in the state of Texas, excuse me. A very impressive number considering 6-7 years ago, I don't know that Alabama even tried to recruit Texas. Now they signed 3 of the top 10 players, which is more than the actual University of Texas. And I understand they went through a coaching change, but that's still incredible. Alabama just went into Texas and got the guys that they wanted, including Tommy Brockmeyer, the second-rated offensive tackle in the country, his brother, and one of the top wide receivers in the country as well. Speaking of Tommy Brockmeyer, they also signed the top 2 offensive tackles in high school football this year, J.C. Latham and Tommy Brockmeyer. They signed the top-rated cornerback in JaQuincy McKinstry, and they signed 3 of the top 10 wide receivers. I should also mention, by the way, I said that they signed more players than more top 10 players from Texas than the University of Texas. How about this? 3 top 10 players from the state of Florida, which is the same number of top 10 players as Miami, Florida, and Florida State combined. So essentially, when you're talking about the best of the best, the elite of the elite, Alabama just out-recruited Texas in the state of Texas and Florida, Miami, and Florida State in the state of Florida. They also signed the number 1 player in the state of Michigan, obviously taking him out of Big Ten country, specifically from Michigan and Ohio State. With all those totals, with all those numbers, with all those names, like I said, this is now considered to be the single greatest recruiting class in the history of recruiting rankings. Ironically, but probably not surprisingly, it surpasses another Alabama class from 2017, which was once believed to be the best recruiting class ever, and I think it very well might go down as the best ever when you look at it. That was the recruiting class that had Tua Tagovailoa, that had Mac Jones, that had Devontae Smith, that had Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, Najee Harris, Alex Leatherwood, on and on and on and on and on. You have a Heisman winner in Devontae Smith, 2 Heisman finalists in Mac Jones and Tua, about 1 billion first-round draft picks with more coming this year, and the experts are saying that this class is better. Now, obviously, look, we'll see in time if it's better, but it's kind of incredible seeing what that 2017 class did and seeing where Alabama is now believed to have signed a better class. In the bigger picture, I think two things really stand out to me about this class. The first one is it continues to show the evolution of the Alabama football program under Nick Saban. It's something that's been talked about time and time and time again, the way they evolved from this defense and run game first program to a program now that relies heavily on the offensive side of the ball, something that none of us could have seen even as recently as 4, 5, 6 years ago. What I do think is interesting, though, I just mentioned that 2017 class. That 2017 class was largely recruited on the concept of what the offense could be. In many ways, you got to give guys like Tua credit, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs credit, because they were being sold on an idea, on a concept that we could be this dynamic offense one day down the road. Now, Alabama was, of course, recruiting that class off a national championship with Jacob Coker, but we did not see the evolution of that offense until 2-3 years later when all those guys got into the program. Again, Tua, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Najee Harris, etc. Well, I believe on Wednesday we saw the finishing touches of this continued evolution of this offense. Like I said, you signed 3 of the top 10 wide receivers in high school football, including Ja'Cory Brooks from IMG Academy, widely regarded as the number 1 or number 2 wide receiver in this entire class. You also get another elite quarterback in Jalen Milroe out of Texas, a guy that obviously Alabama wanted really bad, as well as, not to mention, Texas and most of the Big 12. So those guys now have the blueprint and maybe in theory can take it to another level. We will see. But I also think that it shows how much this program has evolved, that Alabama is now a place where elite skill position talent wants to go. You don't have to go to Oklahoma. You don't have to go to Ohio. Like Alabama is it. Alabama is what Oklahoma was 3, 4, 5 years ago. That's who Alabama is now, and they still play incredible defense. I think finally this just further cements Alabama as the gold standard in college football. Surprise, surprise, I know. But I've said it all along, it's not just the national championships, but to use a bad term from Nick Saban, it's the process that it takes to get there. First of all, you get to campus, you're coached by the best coaching staff in the country. And I know a lot of these guys signed before the coaching staff was overhauled after Steve Sarkisian left, but I said it a few weeks ago. When you're a quarterback like Jalen Milroe, what better guy to learn from? Forget being coached by maybe the greatest coach in the history of college football. And I know some people in the comment section will say, oh, Bear Bryant was better. I'm not here to argue Bear Bryant versus Nick Saban right now. I think Nick Saban's better. You may think Bear Bryant's better. Whatever. The point being is, 1, you're going to be coached by maybe the greatest coach in the history of college football. 2, you're being coached, especially on the offensive side of the football, by some of the great minds in football. I know people want to criticize Bill O'Brien. Oh, he got fired from the Texans. Well, he didn't get fired because his offense couldn't put up points. Deshaun Watson was awesome. There's a reason that all these teams are lined up to trade for Deshaun Watson, and it's because of how well Bill O'Brien coached him. Now, Bill O'Brien shouldn't have traded DeAndre Hopkins, but Bill O'Brien isn't in charge of player personnel in Alabama. He's in charge of getting the most out of this offense. How could you not be excited to play for the guy that just coached Deshaun Watson and, oh, by the way, made 4 NFL playoff appearances in his final 6 full seasons with the Houston Texans? You think that guy doesn't know a little bit about football? You think that guy doesn't know about getting you to the next level and getting you to the next level prepared? Because I think he does. How about Doug Marrone on the offensive line, coaching the Brockmeyer boys, coaching J.C. Latham? You think they aren't excited to be coached by one of the best offensive line coaches in football, period? Who was an NFL head coach a couple years ago? Of course they are. And so when you look at the infrastructure in place, when you look at what Alabama has already done, when you look at the way that they develop players and coach them up and get them to campus, and now you're starting with players as skilled and talented as these guys are, all I can say is good luck to the rest of college football, because you are going to need it these next few years. Alabama, I hate to say it, they ain't going anywhere.